So I didn't realize when I recorded that last video that it was super shaky. I recorded it on the Instagram app, and I guess they don't have a stabilizer, so hopefully this is a little better and less obnoxious. So just to reiterate that great piece of advice from Francis that I took home and I'm meditating on and trying to put into action, which is try to eliminate all worries that you can from your life. And so again, we have these patterns we've built up over years where we respond to these feelings, these sensations in our bodies that rouse us to action, sometimes in violent resistance to a perceived sense of boredom. I myself am very familiar with this, being from New England, being from Massachusetts in particular. The deep tradition there is you can't sit still, you can't be doing nothing. Gotta work, gotta be busy, gotta da-da-da-da, you know. But we have these patterns, and some of these patterns produce tensions in the body, these contractions. And some of them produce these worries or anxiety. And it's not that they're all bad. We keep going to them because they give us something. Maybe a measure of security, or a measure of surety, or a measure of peace, relaxation, excitement. But it's mixed, right? Because it's not all peace, it's not all relaxation, it's not even all excitement. There's something in some of these patterns that produces some kind of vicious cycle. So we might smoke, we might drink a little too much, we might try to soothe ourselves by shopping or talking too much or working out too much. Whatever it may be, if we're really honest with ourselves, some of these things might be contributing to worries, and they might be a continuous pattern that is ultimately not too constructive upon our lives and might not be bringing us the peace that we really truly desire. So, yeah, that was really helpful. The other thing that I've been meditating on that Francis mentioned to the group in response to a question I had, and this wasn't the only time he talked about this during the retreat last week. I had a question on relationships the thought of getting into a new intimate relationship, and I asked him, how do I know that I'm going about this, making a decision impersonally? And for those of you who aren't familiar with kind of this lingo or this way of going about inquiry on life and decisions, he often uses the word impersonal in terms of consciousness or reality, and in terms of deciding and acting in the world. Meaning it's not, our decisions aren't coming from this sense of our being separate, or our consciousness being separate. Look at this. Look at how beautiful this is. It's incredible. I don't know if the windshield's too dirty. It's incredible. New Mexico is so gorgeous. So, anyway, so that was my question, and he said, well, do your best to make impersonal decisions. And he said, one of the ways to do this is do your best to make an impersonal decision, but try to reconcile what you feel is loving and what you feel is intelligent. And chances are the decision will be impersonal. And then he said, beyond that, trying to make an impersonal decision, the beauty of this often makes the decision impersonal, because it's the purity of the intention that matters, not the action, which is so beautiful, and I find to be true in my experience, because my experience is all I have, really. Yeah. It's good stuff. I'll try to talk more about my experience with Francis last week when I can. It was beautiful. Not that anyone is asking, I just like to share. And if you know me, I just like to share. So